What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Make It Kustom. I'm Carl Fisher, and today we are back on my 1939 Lincoln Zephyr Coupe conversion project. What I mean by that is that this car started out as a four-door sedan, and we are making it into a chopped three-window coupe. My personal dream car. Very excited to be working on this with you guys and kind of taking it step by step and figuring out how we're gonna make this happen. I appreciate that you're all along for the ride on this. Yeah, thanks a lot for watching Make It Kustom, everybody. Let's get into this video. Don't forget to like, click subscribe, hit notifications. Let's do it. All right, so what we're gonna accomplish today is we are gonna continue on with this door structure. So what we've done in the last video is we've connected, this is the door frame from the four-door rear doors. This is the door frame from obviously the front doors. We've got the rear door and rear door sections, front door sections that make up the coupe door. So on the other side, we're going to kind of catch it up with this side by welding the inner structure and welding these pieces in like we've done on this. But what else we're going to get done today is we are going to actually install these pillar caps to I'm just very excited to do that. We removed that and made this piece in order to be able to weld the inner structure. What a lot of people miss, and I've done in the past, is as we wouldn't open this up and we just kind of weld what we can weld, but those are always cut underneath the sheet metal, and without removing the pillar cap, you aren't able to weld that. So this is what we were trying to get rid of. We've got one weld there for me, another weld here for me, another weld here for me, and then the factory seam, of course. So we're getting rid of 4 welds, plus all this cave and pave from the factory that was covered with lead. We were removing that and making the car so much better by being able to weld the inner structure and add our cap piece. Now, real quick before we get into the video, I want to just kind of highlight another YouTuber that I respect very, very much. His name is Mike Wagner. I'm sure you've heard of him, and if you have not, please go check him out. He's got a YouTube channel, Cornfield Kustoms, as well as Instagram channel, Cornfield Kustoms. I've looked up to Mike Wagner for a while and watched his feeds and just been kind of in awe of his skill and dedication to the craft of metal shaping and of building cars and race cars, and kind of the diversity of his skill set it blows me away. He's actually got a class happening, which unfortunately I can't attend. It's our Thanksgiving in Canada that weekend, but I would love to be there. But I do encourage all of you, if you're interested, it's in Cincinnati, Ohio, and he's got a class happening this weekend right here. And I'm gonna put all the information in the description of this video, because I think I talked to Mike and he's got a few spots left, and I guarantee that you're gonna learn so much from this guy. And in the future, I'd like to take his class as well. So I encourage you guys to check him out. It's not a sponsored thing at all. I just wanted to highlight a person who I much respect and let you guys know about him. Anyway, I'm gonna jump back into this. We are gonna get the pillars welded up and the pillar caps installed on this video right now. Thanks a lot, everybody. Let's do it. Okay, here's a quick little tip and why this works so well. I spend a lot of time making that gap really tight so that when I weld it, I can use a little bit more heat. If you have a little bit of a gap in there, you're much more likely to blow through. Everything is much hotter at that point, but right now I've got the welder actually cranked up to what I would weld some thicker plate at, and I'm just kind of tacking it, you know, one spot at a time so that the sheet metal doesn't heat up too much. But because it's so hot, it's also much faster, and you end up getting a lot of penetration just with one zap. So I'll show you guys the back side. It's fully penetrated. Check this out. Just hard with this camera. Hold on. Hold on. What's going on here? Okay, check out the back side. So I've got absolutely wicked penetration through this, and I'm welding it on the inside just because I don't really want to grind it, and leaving the weld is a little bit stronger anyway. So yeah, I'm just welding these pieces in, and then we can cap it, weld it up. This is all 16 gauge. It can take the heat. I'm not too worried about warping anything. I'm just worried about getting everything welded structurally. You can see I put a little break on this piece in here just because the pillar has its material sunken in a bit more, so this is all going to be connected. I'm going to fully weld all edges of those plates, and then we'll be able to cap it and move on. Weld the rest of the inner structure, and then the real awesome part of this video is just going to be finally installing those pillar caps and having this door frame section mostly completed. Okay, let's keep going. All right, we're cooking right along on this. We have got the back here all done. Very happy with the way it turned out. And I am just kind of like spotting this little area here and filling this all in. I'm very confident with how strong it is. I do have a little bit more to do here like the other side, but I'm just gonna skip that for now. We're gonna get onto the pillar caps. I really wanna take my time and weld these nice to have as little filler as possible. So now there is gonna be a little bit more fitting. Like this isn't totally perfect. I can get it a little bit better, kind of both sides. I'll probably start with that side because it's already opened up, it's already welded up, and we're gonna install that pillar cap right now. Okay, so I don't know if you guys can see, but basically I'm gonna start fitting this piece, and maybe you can see. Can you see how this area of our new panel kind of curves down? The reason is because we rolled this edge and it's on a radius, so it ends up needing to stretch a little bit at the bottom here. So we're gonna stretch this out just a little bit to have that fit a little bit better. We might need to do a little bit at the same spot on the bottom of the window here. Yeah, but that's kind of mostly it. Like this hand metal shaped side fits better than the other side, probably just because I spent a little bit more time on it. Yeah, I'm just gonna do a couple little tweaks, then we're gonna trace this out really good, and we're gonna cut it in. A little bit of shrink, a little bit of stretch. This is a stretching hammer. You may have seen me use it before on the channel, but some people call it a shark head hammer. Basically what it's doing is it's linear stretching. When it pinches the metal on an edge like this, when it's doing that, it's actually pushing the metal sideways, linearly, and stretching it. So that's all I'm doing. And the reason I'm doing it this way rather than on the shrinker stretcher is because this is right on the edge of our radius that we've already put in, and the shrinker stretcher flattens it when it grips it. So we could put that shrink in there with the shrinker stretcher and then just go back and round it over on the on a round dolly as well. That would work, but this just needs such little tweaking that I think I can just do it by hand. Using a high crown radius hammer because we've got a crown, or sorry, a radius going this way as well onto this T-dolly, and we're just gonna keep tapping it. We're kind of transferring or imprinting our polish onto it, smoothing out some of those marks that we just made, and then we're just gonna put this over the T-dolly and just smooth out our work. So because of the shrink, it had a little bit of a twist in it. I just corrected that, and wow, fits perfect. Holes are lining up from our clecos, and we don't even have clecos. Like this is, that was it. We lucked out. So now I am going to trim this back a little bit, rescribe these lines, and just get ready to cut it in. Okay, I'm pretty happy with where everything's sitting right now. This piece is fitting quite good. And I want to show you guys this technique, okay? Because this is everybody has a different idea on how to do this. And for me personally, I use MIG and TIG when I'm working on something. If MIG just makes more sense to me, I'll use it, you know? If it's gonna be an easier install, I'll use it. In a place where I'm gonna be hammering a weld and trying to planish it out and that sort of thing, I always use TIG. That's not an option. You don't really, well, it is an option, but it's not best practices to use MIG on a panel that you are gonna hammer, because we're not gonna get too far into it, but the weld deposits are a little bit harder and they're more prone to cracking. But in a place like this, where this has a lot of shape in it, there's a lot of shape here, there's a lot of shape here, and we are welding this in, I would probably like to use MIG because the gaps are a little bit inconsistent. And also, this is not an area that I'm gonna hammer. I don't have access to hammer the backside of this. So I wanna control distortion as much as possible. And I personally have an easier time controlling distortion using a MIG spotting technique with, like, I use hot. Like I was saying before, the welder, I'll set it a little bit hot so I can just do a quick tack, like really quick. And that is hot enough to penetrate fully, like I was showing you before, but then I cool it right away. And that is to keep the panel from heating up gradually as more weld gets deposited. So what I'm gonna do is, now that this fits pretty good, I'm just gonna tack it similar to how I do TIG. I'm gonna tack it in a couple of spots and then just keep tacking it until we have, you know, a bunch of even tacks all the way to hold the two pieces in alignment. And then I'm just gonna simply go around and start MIGging, methodically MIG tacking and stacking my tacks, the stack attack technique. And we're just gonna keep tacking it while cooling it, and then this stuff is not gonna butt in, it's not gonna mess around. I do believe I could probably just TIG this as well because there's enough shape in these panels, but I think most people in their garages and watching YouTube right now, they're probably more prone to MIGging. I just think it's much more common. If you're fixing your own car or building your own car, I'd say 9 out of 10 people are doing a lot of MIG. So that's what I want to show you guys. So I'm going to MIG this in. Maybe perhaps the other side I'll TIG it in, and we'll do kind of like what we did with making them, go in hand metal shaping and machine metal shaping. Maybe this will be MIGging and that'll be TIGging. Anyway, I'm going to get started, drag the welder over, and start tacking this piece in. But as you can see, it takes a little bit of fitting and tweaking, but every minute that you spend fitting and tweaking a panel to put it in, I believe is probably 2 or 3 minutes saved in body work. So I mean, it's always worth it, or welding, or grinding, or whatever. So take your time. This isn't a time to rush. It's important to, you know, make things fit nice, and then you'll have a nicer time installing. All right, so we did get everything tacked up pretty nice. The trick is to just make sure that these two pieces align. You probably saw me checking with my finger a lot. That's how I do it. I might take a screwdriver and just kind of tweak them around a little bit. You want to kind of look at it from all angles, make sure everything's nice and flowy, you know? Yeah, not too bad. Very happy with it. I'm going to start tacking it in now. Because it's got so much shape in it, I probably don't have to keep it cool as much as you would a panel that was very flat. Any shape makes it strong. It's like an egg, right? Eggs are hard to crush. If it was a flat eggshell, you could probably just go. Same deal with welding. So if I was welding like on a flat spot on the fender like this, it would be more difficult to control distortion than something that's got a bunch of shape in it. So this isn't going to take too long. I'm just going to, like I said, I'll do like a tack, an attack, and attack. I'll just kind of hop around. I'm not sure how much cooling I'll have to do, really, because I'll be hopping around and just doing quick little tacks. Areas that have a gap, you want to be a little bit more careful with your welding and your heat input. Like this spot in particular, I think could be a problem. So I'll definitely be using the air to keep that cool. But areas like this, where we're like very close to an edge, that just kind of doesn't have anywhere to go. These welds will not really distort. I'm not too worried about this. I'm not too worried about this area. It's like right on this curve. This area flattens out a bit, and I do have a tiny gap in there, so maybe I'll put a little extra cooling in there. But yeah, it's pretty decent, you know? These edges will get welded and ground down. I'm just gonna go for it. All right, quick tip. Everybody always asks me what kind of discs I like to use. I like to use 3M Cubitron discs. I'm not sponsored by them, but I think that it's valuable information to know that these discs, they're expensive. Like the prices will scare you because if you're used to buying regular discs that are $1.39 a piece or something, these ones are a little bit more, but they last so many times longer than any other disc I've used that I only buy these discs. And I'm cheap, like I like to save money, but this is one of the times that you spend money to save money because one disc equals like 3 or 4 of the other discs. You're not changing discs, you're not, you know, like they don't lose their, you know, their sharpness right away. Like this is still sharp. And the beautiful thing also that I like to do to save money, here's another tip, is I just buy 3-inch discs, and then I also like to use smaller discs as well, but you only wear the edges of discs for the most part. like when you're doing this type of work. Like if you see that disc, it's only getting worn on the edge. So I save them, and the center is still very, very, very sharp. This one still has tons of life. But I'll take a used disc, which I just threw on this one. This is a used disc that was laying on the floor. And I will just trim off the exterior of the disc till it's the size of, or a little bit bigger than my arbor, or whatever you call it, the backing pad. You don't have to be super careful. It can be very jagged, and the jagged edges actually kind of help. Like if you've got a little bit of a, you know, curve in something, these little jagged edges will bend easier because they're little points. So I'll trim it like that, and I'll burn off whatever's left of the disc on the outside, and then I'll probably trim it again and just keep using it. I've got 3 different sizes of these so that I can just keep trimming them down, and it works amazing. Like I literally could use a disc for a whole day. That's how good they are. Like I said, not sponsored by them. 3M, if you're watching, you know, I say this in all my videos, hook me up. If you just saw my thumb, that was me just trying to clean the camera. There's a big old spark right there, so hopefully it's okay for the rest. But yeah, I'm just gonna keep going. I just switched discs and thought I'd tell you that. I'm gonna use the smaller disc because even though it's hard to see right now, there's this little bit of a curve in here, and the smaller diameter disc is gonna be able to get that a little better. You only wanna cut down until the weld's gone. You don't really wanna go any further past that for obvious reasons, like you're just making the metal thinner. You know, like you could go just a tiny bit past or something, but basically as soon as it hits metal on one side of the weld or the other, I stop. I might go, you know, a second or 2 more in case it smooths it right out, but really you're not doing anything but making it look pretty. You're just taking away metal. So that's why it's so important to line everything up very, very good when you're tacking it, because then when you go to grind it off, you will be able to grind it like that, you know? Like if you take the extra time to line the edges up, use a little piece of sheet metal or something, or feel it really good, whatever you gotta do to make the edges line up, it just looks better. And then you know that you've got the full thickness of the base material and the parent metal when you're grinding. So I'm just gonna keep grinding. Like this is just an 80 grit. I like using 80 grit Cubitron, and then I'll probably just take a DA real quick and just kind of give it a nice finish, and that's it. check it out. Very happy with how this turned out. Everything is nice and smooth. I am, not trying to hide anything, guys. There is a little bit of a low right in here where the weld was. You saw me prying this piece up a little bit. To be honest, it had a little bit too much shape. That's why we were trying to pry it up. So it did sink that a little bit, but I'm not worried. This is not a lot. It's just a little bit right in this area, and that's okay because we're gonna put just a tiny, tiny bit of filler there. But the rest of it doesn't really need much. Like, this seam turned out really good. It's nice and smooth. It's not gonna need much. Right where the weld is there, right in the corner, there's gonna be a little bit of filler there. Same thing in this spot, not perfect. Tiny little bit of a low coming in through where the weld was, but man, I'm so happy with how it turned out. It is miles and miles better, and MIG welding is okay. In some situations, I prefer it. For me, I like to try and use a little bit of everything. So in this case, we did it with MIG, and I just want you to know that it's totally fine and you can do it too. So thanks a lot for watching, everybody. I'm very stoked. Every time we get a little bit closer on the Zephyr, I'm very stoked. I do have a bunch of stuff in the works for the ramp truck as well, so keep on the channel for that. In the next month or so, we're gonna start doing a bunch of content on the ramp truck as well as the Zephyr. We're gonna keep on those two as the main projects, kind of going into the fall and winter. I do want to get back on the baby Buick a little bit, hop around, but anyway. Thanks everybody for watching. If you are interested in helping out the channel a little bit, there's a custom crew membership. It's $5 a month. You get 15% off at the merch store. And yeah, we've got lots of stock. Ooh, I should show you guys the new radius gauges. I know people were like requesting the radius gauges because they were out of stock for a while. And funny story, the first way I had them manufactured versus this way is very different. The company that's manufacturing the hammers are just like the Mother Tucker hammers. I asked them to manufacture these radius gauges in the way that I had them done in the past. And most radius gauges are just kind of cut out of, like using laser or something like that. They're just cut out of plate. But this CNC machine company insisted on CNC machining all sides of the new radius gauge and making them out of billet 6061. They said they will not compromise on the quality of their products. And so, I mean, I'll probably get a little bit cheaper ones made somewhere else so that you don't have to spend this much money. I'm not making a lot on these. They are very expensive to make, but I'm very proud of how beautiful they are. Check these out. So this is billet 6061. Look at the rainbow that you can see in the machine marks of this. It is exquisite, okay? It is ridiculous. It's very thick. It's about 3/16 of an inch thick. You can't bend it. You can't, it's not just, aluminum plate that you buy or aluminum sheet. This is billet. So accurate beyond what it needs to be. They are on the site. I do have a bunch of them, and they're ready to ship. So if you guys are interested, the radius gauges are in stock. Anyway, custom crew, badge by your name, 15% off the merch store, $5 a month. It's like buying me a coffee. It totally helps out. And I appreciate all the members. And yeah, we'll catch you on the next video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. See you later.